On June 5, 1917, 10 million men got in line, as every American between the ages of 21 and 30 registered for the first U.S. draft since the Civil War. On July 20th, Secretary of War Baker pulled a number from a goldfish bowl and the great draft lottery was on. For more than 14 hours straight, officials drew numbers to determine the order in which the men were to be called to the colors. Across the nation, excited crowds watched bulletin boards like this one, run by a Jewish language newspaper. A soldier-to-be sees his number come up, and he goes jubilantly off, his head filled with dreams of glory. Soon the streets resounded to the departing draftees. By December 15th, more than 500,000 men were in training camps. The United States had to change its old ways of doing things. Affecting industry, government, and Americans everywhere, the conversion was miraculously swift. We prepared to place our might into the battle line, a formidable rock of resistance in this milestone of the century.
Wars change things, but big wars change a lot of things. World War I didn't change America. It sped up change. World War I didn't start until July 28, 1914. America didn't enter the war until April 6, 1917. The reason for this hard struggle was because Woodrow Wilson was trying to stick to George Washington's policy about not being involved in foreign affairs. But it wasn't easy. As war raged on in Europe, more business opportunities arrived in America, and these American businessmen took advantage of it. Germany had resorted to using U-boat warfare, trying to block American supplies from the British. They warned us that anyone sailing on a British ship was subject to attack. But Americans continued to travel on these ships anyways. In 1915, the Germans sunk the British ship Lusitania, killing over 1,000 people and also 128 Americans. This didn't play very well with the American public. In 1916 was a presidential election. Woodrow Wilson was up for re-election, and his main campaign slogan was "He kept us out of war." Woodrow Wilson's policy was still trying to stay out of foreign affairs, but this was really hard to do so, being that German U-boats were still attacking British ships with Americans on them. Now the British intercepted a telegram from Germany to Mexico stating that if the U.S. decided to go to war, that Mexico would attack, and then in the result of Germany winning the war, Mexico would receive Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. Now let's take a step back, before America joined the war. America's economy was booming now. We were selling to both countries. We were selling to Great Britain, and we were selling to Germany. We're making double of what a normal country would. Now, even after we joined the war, our economy was still growing. The downfall to this war would be such as what the media played the Germans to be. One poster depicted an ape-like German carrying a young, helpless girl. The caption was, "Destroy this mad brute." And even the media catch on to this. They produce movies such as The Kaiser, Kill the Kaiser, To Hell with the Kaiser, and also The Beast of Berlin. Now this worked. The American men hated Germans because of what they were doing. Now, what else would you want to do if you hated somebody? You'd want to kill them. And that's why America supplied so many troops for the war effort.
Inside the White House, President Woodrow Wilson conferred with advisors, then signed the proclamation of war against Germany. The men present here are gone, but preserved on Pathé film, this moment of history remains. The news flashed on the latest wireless transmitter. Headlines told the story to the people of America, while the parlor radio was still years in the future. Everywhere there was cheering and waving of flags. Hindsight or cynicism might make us smile at the thought that this war was sometimes called the Great Adventure. Never again would we see our entry into a major conflict excite so many to such heights of elation. Naive? Probably. But here was a generation of young men not yet saturated by the paralyzing variety of self-analysis and the mock sciences. They believed.
America's entry into the war completely turned the tables in the Europeans' favor in defeating Germany. And our contributions to the war should have meant that we would have more important voice on how the war was settled. Especially since the Germans surrendered under the belief that they would be treated well under Wilson's promise. But what actually happened after the war is that the British, and even more the French, were wanting harsher punishment for the Germans. And Wilson, he gave in. Why? He sacrificed most of his goals to achieve the one goal he thought was most important: the League of Nations.